Well, thanks for staying with us. Now, a group of elder statesmen, they call themselves the Patriots, led by Chief Emeka Anyaoku, have established a consultation committee to pursue the creation of a new people's constitution for Nigeria. Well, Chief Anyaoku emphasized the urgency of this initiative, stating that the current 1999 constitution hinders national development and that no leader, regardless of their capability, could succeed under its constraints. The newly formed 17-member committee, led by Professor Anthony Killer and co-chaired by Senator Shehu Sani, aims to advocate for this constitutional change. The committee includes notable figures such as Alhaji Shetima Yerima and Samson Itodo of Yaga Africa. Well, the Patriots criticize President Bola Tinubu's stance that addressing economic challenges takes precedence over drafting a new constitution. Well, during the official inauguration of the National Advocacy Committee, Chief Anyaoku underscored that the country's worsening situation necessitates a new constitution to effectively address these challenges. Well, he also noted that 3 weeks ago, the Patriots sent a delegation to the president to advance this cause and emphasize the importance of engaging both the presidency and the National Assembly to initiate the process of drafting a new democratic constitution. So the conversation around a new constitution is intensifying with the Patriots now, a group of statesmen, elder statesmen, chiming in on it and basically insisting that Nigeria needs a new constitution. Well, Nigerians did not think that they needed a new anthem, but they got a new anthem. Speedily too. You have said, you're of the opinion that the constitution is faulty. The Patriots are also of the opinion that regardless of who you are, no matter how good you are, you can't succeed operating the 1999 constitution. What do you think can be done differently? And if there will be a new constitution, what are the things you would like to see in that constitution?
Let's start from the history of this 1999 obnoxious constitution. Don't forget that that constitution, for me, is a military decree, Decree 24, which was promulgated by Abu Salam, hurriedly enacted by Abu Salam, and handed over to civilian rule. Ordinarily, one would have expected that moving from military to civilian, we should have by now sat down to review that document, shred it, and build a new one. The present constitution is enlisted. It is meant just to protect the interests of the political class. That is why once you become either a governor or whatever position you occupy in government, irrespective of your political party, that constitution protects you. That is why when they were sharing cars at the National Assembly, those from Labour Party did not refuse, because that constitution has given them a way around it. That is one. Two, the same constitution makes it difficult for the Nigerian people to add any content into it. When that Decree 24 was promulgated, no Nigerian citizen, ordinary citizens, added voice to it. And that is why you have the Revenue Mobilization Commission today. You cannot question them. Nigerians have been asking, how much are our senators earning? This is a commission that is meant to tell Nigerians how much Mr. President and how much government officials earn. But they are not doing that because the Constitution does not allow them to do that. The Constitution also does not allow even the judiciary to question some of the actions of the executive. So how do you call that a people-oriented constitution? And then we sit back, and anytime they want to talk about the constitution, we the Nigerian people, and I ask, when did the Nigerian people really sit down to come up with such a document? A document that does not give room for transparency, does not give room for accountability. So for me, that is not a constitution. We must agree on one issue, that it is a military decree. You know how the military governs. It's either you obey or you are dealt with. But we need a constitution that has a human face. A document that will reflect your own fears, your thoughts, your worries, your demands, what makes you a Nigerian. That is what we want, where everybody has equal opportunity.
Do you think...
Okay, Mr. Prince Chilaka, I would like for you to tell us in very specific terms the new provisions, the alterations you want made in the Constitution.
I don't want alterations. I want a new document.
Okay, you want a new document.
Yes.
New document. Okay, now, you made mention of the fact that we don't know how much our senators earn. I don't know how we can go to the Constitution and write that we should know how much our senators earn, because we have a rank fact that has come to tell you, see, this is how much senators and members of the House of National Assembly should earn. So what has that got to do with the Constitution?
Well, you know, the Constitution is what defines us as a people.
No,
it defines it defines the powers.
I also like the fact that
it defines the powers of the president.
I also like the fact that you mentioned that governors are living at the expense of their people. Since 1999, I'm sure that we have produced more than 150 governors in the past 25 years from different states. Mr. Chilaka, do you want to tell me that out of those 100 or so senators, none of them has performed excellently well in his state?
Mention one.
Did the person operate outside the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? We have had 3 or 4 presidents in the past. You want to tell me that none of them did excellently well?
I haven't seen any.
And operated the same Constitution?
No, I haven't seen any.
So I would like for if we have to make a new Constitution,
yes.
Well, apparently we are going to make alterations on these ones. In specific terms, what are the alterations you want made in this old Constitution?
Like I keep saying, don't use that word alteration.
Okay, new provisions.
Good. We want a new Constitution.
That will say what?
People, calm down.
Okay.
People-oriented document that tells you the real functions of the executive, the real functions of the legislative, and the real functions of the judiciary. That it puts in place an institution that cannot be broken by anybody.
You see, when you talk about breaking by anybody, you are bringing the human factor into it.
See, the Americans have a constitution. The Americans are operating a unwritten constitution. They have a constitution. Donald Trump, I use him as an example, had issues. Nobody protected him. Because the institutions are there to work. But you have a document that says, for instance, the Nigerian police now, you say that the state governor is the, what do you call him, the chief security officer of the state. He cannot give directive to a commissioner of police.
All right, let me come to Doctor now. You seem to be itching to go. you have a different opinion.
Well, let me cover the area less covered. First, I disagree with the president on 2 grounds. Number one, as a president, you have to be multi-directional, not unidirectional. In the sense that you cannot say because you are tackling economic challenges, then the viewing of the Constitution or amending the Constitution or creating a brand new Constitution must suffer. No, you have to, with the way Nigeria is right now, you have to tackle Nigeria's problems from a holistic perspective, in such a way that you are touching every area bit by bit, so that at the end of the day, the sum of the whole will give us a more developed and prosperous country. So one of the skills needed to be a president of a country like Nigeria is you being able to be kind of like multi-directional. And that's why you have aides, that's why you have routine of special advisors and all that. Then another thing is, the president failed to realize that amending or reviewing or creating a brand new constitution itself can be used to tackle economic challenges. That's why I've said it before that I want to see a more thinking presidency, because I believe the presidency should have the best of educational, the best of professional in its kitty. So when you say that, oh, you cannot, you are focusing on the economy, no. You can also use the constitution to tackle economic challenges. For instance, the control of resources in Nigeria, which is on the exclusive list. In other words, what that means is we have a constitution that says governors are the custodian of lands. Someone is the custodian of land in Lagos, right? Now, if you have a family property in Lagos, the land belongs to your father or grandfather or great-grandfather. Now, by virtue of inheritance, it comes across to you. But that well, the well, if there's a well there, that water doesn't belong to you, it doesn't belong to someone, it belongs to the federal government. Because if water is categorized as a natural resources, the water in your own compound doesn't belong to you. So how can you make somebody a custodian of land and the person does not have control over the resources found on that land? And Nigeria has over 250 mineral resources. And I've said it before that, do you know that clay, those red sand in your village, is a natural resources. There are some countries that want that clay to mold all these, pots, all these flower vases and all that, but they don't have it. So that clay alone is a natural resource. But when you put the whole management of the resources of a country, natural resources, under the federal government, then what do you have? You have states that are not productive. And that is why it is easy for any ragtag, any scallywag, any street urchin, to wake up tomorrow and say he wants to become a governor of a state. Because why? You don't have to have any money-making skills for you to pay salaries. The federal government is already there waiting for you, to give you allocation. So you can use the amendment of the Constitution by reducing the powers that are already at the presidency, by devolving those powers to the state, so that you make the state more productive. You make the state more viable. You make politics thrive in the state, because when you give them powers, then people, when you know that you need to earn before you pay, then you won't even bother to strive to become a governor of a state if you know you don't have the capacity to earn. So that's where I disagree with the president. Now, the Constitution itself, you see, so long as the Constitution is a document that is to be obeyed by human beings, as long as technology is created, for instance, to make the life of man better, you need human beings to operate that technology. This phone right here can make you speak right now to somebody in the United States. But you need to unlock it first. You need to put the right number. You need to dial. Then that phone will work. Will connect you to that person in the United States, right? But if you keep having greedy people in power, if people keep coming to the table with greed, if you keep having a one-man state, we fail to realize that no matter the best of constitution we have. Now, I'm not speaking in favor of the constitution. I just said it that the constitution is a flawed document. But no matter the kind of constitution we have, so long as we have a president, for instance, how do law evolves? How do law evolve? Law evolves by enactment from the National Assembly. The judgment of courts, by virtue of our constitutional democracy, are also laws. When the court gives a judgment, and you have leaders, you have politicians that flagrantly disobey the court order. Now, the court order is just fresh. It's something fresh that you cannot claim that you are not aware of. You can claim ignorance of some provisions of the Constitution. But the court order that the media has reported, and you fail to obey it, is it those kind of people that want to obey the Constitution? Let's be realistic. So what we need is an orientational change, a strong institution that would outlive whoever is occupying it, whoever it makes it difficult.
And the Constitution,
just as the U.S. institution made it difficult for Donald Trump to breach the system. So we need good people, we need thinking people, we need strong institutions.
Can make that happen, right?
Exactly, I believe so.
Now, but the conversation around we the people, that statement in the Constitution, will there ever be a time where the generality or representative of the generality of the people will come together to decide on what the Constitution should be like?
Well, very good question, I must say. You see, if I'm to speak as a political scientist, right, you see, when we say we the people, it can be seen from two perspectives. Number one, if you say the Constitution right now is not the people's Constitution, then you need to ask yourself that the people that wrote the Constitution, whether they are military or civilian, are they Ghanaians? Are they Togolese? Are they from Britain? The Constitution that we have that are not of the people is the Lillington Constitution, the Macpherson Constitution, the Clifford Constitution, the Pre-Independence Constitution. The 1999 Constitution is still a constitution of the people because by virtue, I'm talking of intense political science argument now, scholarly argument. This is not for public consumption because a lot of people will disagree. But I just kind of bring it out because the people that drafted the Constitution, as at the time they were drafting it, they are Nigerians. they come from different parts of the country. So you can't say the constitution is not a people's constitution, but what you can say, what people can say is the constitution is not representative enough. So we now need a more representative constitution that will bring about what people want. How do we want to be governed as a country? So it now brings us back to the social contract theory, whereby you submit your right to gain other rights. Like, okay, what kind of right do you want to submit? And what kind of right do you want to gain? Then those will become the dictate of the constitution. Not that you, by executive fiat, just go and be exploiting the oil in the Niger Delta without agreeing with the people. You need to agree with the people that, okay, we want your oil. Your oil is strategic to the growth and development of the country. Then the people will now give you their own terms. And you dialogue. Then you agree. Then the people will willingly allow you to exploit oil in their community. So that is representative of the will of the people. So that is the kind of constitution we need to kind of like create in such a way that when we have such a constitution, at least there will be less agitation. Consult, the Biafrites, Now, dialogue with them that, okay, this is Nigeria. It's like a marriage. This is what we can offer you. This is what we can, okay, because you are in the minority, we can offer you rotational presidency. So that one day it gets to your turn. You are rest assured that population does not disfavor you. Then they may now agree, hoping that, okay, one day it will be their turn. So it is a people's dialogue. Okay, now, we are here. We are all here. Like 5 of us. We want to create a law that's to be governed. And you come up and just draft something. So long as you are a staff of VOP, you need to still carry us along and say, okay, what is our modus operandi? What is our ethics? If it evolves from an agreement from us, if I breach that law, it is very easy for all of us to say, no, you will be sanctioned, and I cannot say anything because we all agree to it.
All right, now,
okay.
I would like to talk to
Chilaka, I'm also coming to you. Like 3 weeks ago, the Patriots went and had a parley with the president and broached this idea of a new constitution to him. And the president said, oh, sorry, I'm more concerned with matters of the economy at the moment. And like 3 weeks later, we heard the Patriots constitute an advocacy committee, to go and start meet with Nigerians, to see how they can, on their own, bring about a new constitution. Do you see that as an affront on the president? And what do you think will be the reaction of the president?
It's not an affront. This is democracy at play. Democracy is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Unfortunately, we have tried to change that definition of democracy to suit whoever is in power. I have always stated that sovereignty belongs to the people, and we must respect that. When you realize that sovereignty belongs to the people, and you have a situation where the people are now agitating, it's not just the patriots. The patriots are not just individuals, don't forget. These patriots are also from the various ethnic groups that make up this country. You may call them on their own, but for me, I believe that they are representing the interests of Nigerians. I have always asked the question, where are the elders of the land? Now, the elders of the land are coming out, and they're saying, look, this is what we want, and this is what we think we want. And I believe that, Mr. President should also be, mindful of the fact that power really rests with the people. Unfortunately, we have an electoral law that makes you and I, the electorate, only useful for the elections. After the elections, we're no longer useful. And that should not be allowed. So that's why I'm saying that we need a constitution where it will not take us head, neck, leg to recall somebody who is not performing. Today, you cannot recall a state House of Assembly member. You cannot.
So do you
because the procedure is cumbersome.
I think it's the issue of the immunity clause that happened to be in the 1999 Constitution.
It's not only about it's not only about the immunity clause. It's the fact that that document does not allow the ordinary citizens to operate.
But the likes of Professor Ernest Ojukwu were of the opinion that the Constitution is a beautiful thing, that the people are the ones that have issues, not the Constitution.
It is not the people, it's the leadership. If the head is bad.
Leadership, but the leadership is taken from the people.
People.
I agree with you. But what we're looking at is you have a constitution that vests so much power on those you have elected.
So you think the
It
executive
takes away
has
the
so much power
sovereignty
now?
that the people should enjoy.
So you think the executive has so much power now?
They have more than
That's why
enough
they're
power.
listening. Now back to you, Dr. Jeje. I want to bring you to this conversation. You said something earlier. You made mention of how Nigeria can work better and things that we can do. But you also know that the constitution we're running now has been amended 5 times, nearly 25 years. And yet, we don't really have anything to show for these amendments. And Nigerians have spent billions of naira on these amendments now. And you're of the opinion that the paper can work, or the constitution we have can work, when we have right people there. How do you think we're going to get to that point where we'll just, do the alterations, pull out some things that are not working, and make the constitution to work for Nigeria, even when the Confab Agreement of 2014 is yet to even to be brought to the table of Nigerians?
Well, your car keeps giving you issues every other week, and God has blessed you with the capacity to just purchase a new car. So if you choose to keep repairing the car, then it's either the car needs to be thoroughly checked, or you need to be checked, whether you just like to be suffering, right? Now the thing is, if you amend a constitution successively 5 times, and just as the purchase of cars, and all these expenses, the amendment of the constitution keep occurring. Now, Tinubu is in his first term. In the second term, the amendment of the constitution will still happen again. And these things are done with taxpayers' money, consultations and all that. So you ask yourself that, why do people just keep amending this constitution when you can do like an elaborate review, even if it's going to cost you 4 years? For instance, you want to amend or review the constitution, the term of this administration is over 1 year. You've not started. What happened with starting a month after the inauguration of the 10th Assembly, so that you can have enough ample time? And why are you not, if you are altering the constitution, but the society which the constitution is meant to serve still remains the same, and people are moving from prosperity to destitution, the poverty index, the unemployment index keep increasing, that speaks negativity to your amendment. So why not do the real amendment that will bring prosperity to the land, which is like the resources, state police and all that? Why not do it? The reason is because most of these guys are about power. And you see, the comment of the president further ratifies my assertion about him as a power-oriented politician. I see Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a power-oriented person. And when you are power-oriented, that means you have this insatiable taste for power. What do I mean by that? Give him power, he wants more power. Give him more power, he wants more power. Add more power to it, he still wants more power. The taste for power can't be satisfied. So if you have a power-oriented guy at the helm of affairs, and you now go and meet him and say, oh, come and trash this document that gives you power, that the only thing that is superior to you is God Almighty. Because the Nigerian president has so much enormous powers, So if you now tell a power-oriented guy to come and trash the source of his powers, to come and perish his own abido shaker, how do you expect that he will agree with you to come and release his powers? So you are going to a power-oriented guy, nothing will work. But the thing is, the advocacy, is it timely? Yes. Is it good? Yes. Is it what Nigeria needs? Yes. Can it bring good result? Maybe, maybe not. But I see it more of maybe, because if the advocacy is consistent, if it is regular, just as it seems impossible during the military days, that democracy that we so clamor for may just never come, may just never be achieved. But because the advocacy was sustained, the advocacy was rigorous, we got there one day. So this advocacy is, is the tiny oxygen in nostrils that is needed for Nigeria to get there. And these people, at the end of the day, unfortunately, their dictate is subjected, whatever they do is subject to the ratification of the National Assembly. That makes me ask the question that, okay, if we have this constitution and we so much desire a new constitution, And these guys are at the end of affairs will not want to give us what we want. Can we make some compromise? Is it possible for Nigerians to make some compromise? For instance, ordinarily, we are operating under the 1999 Constitution that says that you can only govern twice. If you have a new constitution, that means Bola Ahmed Tinubu can go back to be governor of Lagos State. Because we have a new constitution, right? So, can Nigerians make some compromise that will say, okay, if you have governed before, in Nigeria, maybe you can come back to govern just once. By that implication, the guys that are sitting in the National Assembly that comprises of past governors, that comprises of past ministers, senators, they will want to kind of like maybe agree to it. Because I don't see in this democratic system, except if we have a military interchange, then we go back to democracy and we now have a new constitution. But if there's no military intervention, it will be difficult for these guys to give us the constitution that we so need without a compromise from Nigerians that will favor them. It's just as, I'm telling you that, give me your tie, give me your suit.
Once again.
I have to give you a reason for you to give it to me. There must be a compromise. There must be what I'm offering.
I see that, okay, if the military decides to help us out, that's when we
except we have like a soft compromise. Else, these guys will not do anything that will, except there's a soft compromise from the
Should we consider this your concluding thoughts?
Well, if you give me more time, I can still answer, if you ask me more questions, I can still answer and give you
well, because we're out of time.
Yeah, you are the anchor.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Prince, let's get your concluding thoughts now.
For me, for culture to grow and be embraced by the people, it has to be dynamic and not static. Unfortunately, we have a 1999 constitution that is static, that is solely meant to protect the political elite. That document needs to be shredded for us to have a Nigeria that is for Nigerians.
All right then. Well, we've been discussing with Prince Francis Chilaka, who is a political analyst, and Dr. Deji Omoshola, a doctor of political science. It's been quite enlightening listening to the both of you. We appreciate you for your time and your thoughts.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
We'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll have trends. Stay with us.